How to care for an injured wild bird that cannot fly. If you see an injured bird, you of course want to help it out. However, generally, it is not legal for you to try to care for the bird on your own. The best course of action is to call for help either before you try to pick up the bird or after you place the bird in a box in a safe location. Part 1: Establishing the bird needs help. 1. Check the age. You might think a baby bird needs help, but it may just be the bird is learning how to fly. Watch the bird for a while from a distance to establish it really is injured and has been abandoned by the mother. Look for feathers. If a baby bird has feathers, it is likely learning to fly. You can put featherless baby birds back in the nest if they're not injured. If a bird feels cold, warm it in your hands before setting it back in the nest. The scent of your hands will not bother the parents, who will feed it as they do the other babies. If you don't see a nest, put the bird somewhere where it is hidden from cats and dogs. For instance, you can set it in a bush or tree. 2. Look for open wounds in adult birds. If you see a gaping wound, that is an indication an adult bird needs help, and you may need to rescue it. 3. Sight: check for blood. Blood is another indication a bird is in trouble. If the bird is dripping blood or if you see dried blood, it may need help. 4. Check for movement. If the bird is having trouble standing or flying, it is in serious trouble and needs help. 5. Consider the options. It may be best to leave the bird where it is until you can get help from a professional. Big birds, such as hawks, can cause you serious harm if you don't know what you're doing. Part 2: Picking up the bird. 1. Have a box ready. Use a cardboard box, and cut holes in it for ventilation. Place something soft in the bottom, such as a towel. You can also use other types of pet carriers, such as cat carriers, if the bird is large. You should have something to cover the box or cage, such as a towel, as it is best to keep the animal in the dark and quiet. However, you shouldn't use a wire carrier, as that can cause harm to the bird. 2. Prepare a heating source. You can use either a heating pad, set on low, or hot water in a zip-top bag. If you use the heating pad, place it on the outside of the box at one end. If you use the zip-top bag, wrap it in cloth, and set it inside the box with the bird. 3. Put on gloves. Even small birds can cause damage to your hands. Put on a thick pair of gloves before attempting to help the bird. 4. Cover the bird with a towel or blanket. Before trying to move the bird, cover it with cloth to help calm it. 5. Pick the bird up gently. Though the bird is injured, it can still cause you and itself harm if you startle it. It likely will fight back. 6. Put the bird in the box. Close the lid and cover it with the towel. Keep the bird in a warm, quiet place while you work on your next steps. Make sure your pets do not have access to the area where you place the bird. 7. Wash your hands. Even with gloves on, it's important to wash your hands and arms after handling wildlife, as they can spread bacteria and disease. 8. Avoid trying to feed the bird. You will likely get the diet of the bird wrong. You can provide water so that the bird can drink on their own, but never try to feed the bird water. Part 3: Caring for the bird. 1. Find a wildlife rehabilitator. This is important, as a wildlife rehabilitator will know how to care for a wild animal like the bird you found. You can usually find lists of local rehabilitators on local and statewide government wildlife websites. You can also call veterinarians for recommendations. In fact, it's illegal for a person without a license to attempt to rehabilitate a wild animal or bird without help from a licensed professional. Birds are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, making it illegal for you to keep one in your possession without a license. 2. Ask how to care for the bird. The rehabilitator may tell you how to care for the bird, or they may tell you it's best to bring it to someone who is licensed to care for it. Either way, you'll know how to move forward. 3. Deliver the bird to a licensed wildlife rehabilitation professional. Birds have diverse requirements for diet and care, and wild birds do not adapt well to captivity. 4. Understand what will happen next. Animals that are rehabilitated face one of 4 fates. The best option is the bird will recover and be released back into the wild. If it is not possible to release the bird back into the wild, the bird will be placed at an appropriate facility and used to educate people. The other 2 options are not as pleasant. The bird may die from the condition, or it may need to be put to sleep if the injury is too severe. 5. Obtain a license. If you insist on keeping the bird, you will need to be licensed, as it is illegal to keep wildlife without a permit or license. You can apply for the proper paperwork through your local government. To obtain a license, you need to fill out the permit form from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for the federal government, as well as a form for your state government. To be permitted to rehabilitate animals, you need to have the knowledge and expertise to care for wild animals. You will need to answer questions about your knowledge, as well as about how you were trained to care for animals. Warnings. As a general rule, when dealing with most wild animals, avoid touching them. If you do touch them, be sure to wash areas that came in contact with the animal with warm water and soap.